Have you ever wondered why old, antique things trigger such a primal dread inside us? It's not because of the dust or the cracks in the wood. It's because of the memories they carry. The protagonist of today's story, let's call him Mark, never believed in the paranormal. He was a practical, down-to-earth man. So, when he and his wife found a spacious country house for a suspiciously cheap price, Mark only saw it as an absolute bargain. If only he knew why that house had stood empty for decades. The first few days felt like a dream, but the moment the sun dipped below the tree line, the house transformed. It started with faint rustling noises, barely audible sounds, as if someone was slowly dragging their fingernails along the back of the wallpaper. Then came the cold, a sudden, bone-chilling draft that made their breath visible in the middle of a warm summer night. But the worst part happened when his wife, Emily, finally managed to drift into a restless sleep. Every single night, she had the exact same nightmare. Absolute, suffocating darkness. And out of that darkness, the contours of a face would slowly emerge. A face twisted in pure malice, covered in weeping sores and decaying flesh, a creature staring directly into her soul, screaming in dead silence. Emily would wake up gasping for air, clutching her husband's hand, only to find faint, red pressure marks on her neck, as if someone had been trying to strangle her. Mark tried everything. As a man of action, he looked for logical explanations. He replaced the old plumbing, thinking the pipes were vibrating in the wind. He called pest control, assuming rodents were nesting inside the walls. They even brought in a local priest to bless the rooms and burned sage in every corner. Nothing worked. In fact, with each passing day, the entity grew more aggressive. Dishes would fly off the shelves on their own, smashing to pieces against the kitchen floor. Heavily bolted doors would slam open in the dead of night with a deafening crack. Meanwhile, Emily was wasting away. Her skin turned paper pale, and dark, hollow shadows formed under her eyes. She couldn't sleep in that house anymore. She only slept in the bright light of day, and even then, only for an hour at a time. Mark realized one thing. If he didn't find the source of this madness within the next few days, they would lose their minds. Or worse. One night, after Emily woke up screaming once again, Mark decided he had had enough. Armed with a heavy-duty flashlight, he went to investigate the one place in the house they hadn't touched yet, the attic. The entrance was blocked by a thick oak door, locked shut with a rusted iron latch. He had to throw his entire weight against it before the door finally gave way with a loud groan. The air inside the attic was thick, stagnant, smelling of century-old dust and something sickly sweet, reminiscent of decay. The flashlight beam cut through the darkness, revealing piles of old junk, broken chairs, yellowed newspapers, and thick layers of cobwebs. And then, the light hit the far corner. There, draped under a heavy, gray burlap sheet, stood something massive. Mark approached slowly. His heart was hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. He reached out and yanked the fabric away. Before him stood a mirror, incredibly ancient. Its massive frame, carved from oak, blackened by time, was covered in bizarre, unsettling carvings, intertwined bodies, and faces contorted in agony. The glass itself was cloudy, obscured by a thick layer of grime. But that wasn't the terrifying part. When Mark looked into it, he swore his own reflection lagged behind his movements by a fraction of a second. And from the heavy frame, a draft carried that exact same, sickly sweet smell of rot. In that instant, Mark knew. The malice of this house was radiating from this very object. Struggling to hold the heavy, massive frame, drenched in cold sweat, he dragged the mirror downstairs. Step by step, he hauled it out of the house, dragged it across the yard, and left it far beyond the property line by the edge of an old forest road. The moment he let go, an absolute silence fell over the house. A deep, heavy silence they hadn't experienced since the day they moved in. That night, Emily slept peacefully for the first time. No nightmares, no decaying face in the dark. The haunting stopped, but Mark couldn't let it go. He needed answers. Who had owned this house before, and why did that mirror almost destroy them? The next day, he went to the local archives, spending hours digging through old newspapers and historical property records. What he uncovered made his blood run cold. At the turn of the 20th century, the estate belonged to a man named Silas Thorne. Silas was an incredibly wealthy but reclusive and cruel man. He had a pathological fear of aging and death. Whispers in the town suggested he dabbled in the occult, desperately searching for a way to cheat his own mortality. He had acquired that mirror on the black markets of Europe. Rumor had it that the mirror was crafted by a mad artisan who mixed the blood of dying men into the silver backing. It was designed to absorb the sickness and aging of its owner, reflecting it back into the void. But magic always demands a price, and the price Silas paid was horrific. Silas Thorne didn't gain immortality. Instead, the mirror trapped his soul within its glass, slowly draining his life force. At the age of 40, Silas was struck down. He began dying a slow, agonizing death right in his bed. His body literally began to rot while he was still alive. Doctors were baffled. It was a disease unknown to science. His skin broke out in black, weeping ulcers, and his flesh began to slough off in pieces, exposing bone. He was decomposing alive. For 2 long, hellish months, Silas Thorne screamed in agonizing pain. His agonizing shrieks echoed throughout the entire valley. The very last thing he saw before he died was that mirror, which he had ordered his servants to place directly at the foot of his bed. He died staring at his own decaying reflection, cursing the world with his final breath. After his death, the house was boarded up. But Silas's spirit, trapped inside the mirror's silver cage, remained. Rotted alive and driven mad by pain, he hungered for new victims. He needed the life force of the living to sustain his wretched, spectral existence. And it was his decaying face that Emily was seeing in her nightmares. Silas was trying to worm his way into her mind, trying to claim her body as his own. Mark walked back home feeling empty. The mirror was gone from the roadside, but the thought that this ancient evil was now standing somewhere on a highway shoulder, waiting for a new, unsuspecting owner, kept him awake at night. Cursed things don't just disappear. They simply find new hands. Perhaps at this very moment, one of you is walking past an antique shop, spotting a beautiful, vintage frame and thinking, that would look perfect in my bedroom. But before you buy it, look closely at your reflection, because someone in the glass might already be looking back at you, waiting to trade places. What do you think of this story? Would you dare to explore the attic of your new home? Let me know in the comments below if you believe in cursed objects. Don't forget to hit the like button if this story gave you chills, and subscribe to the channel for more dark mysteries. See you in the dark.